Hey there, everyone, and welcome to our Praxis Core Writing Overview. In this module, we're going to explore what's on the core Academic Skills for Educator writing test. And we'll talk about how to prepare both for the multiple choice section of writing and the two essay tasks that you'll be required to complete on this Praxis Core test. Remember again that this is one of three parts that you'll find on the Praxis Core. You have the option of taking it as a combined test or as isolated sections. And again, you can take this test in a test center, or you can take this test at home with virtual proctoring from your own computer in the comfort of your own home. This is preferred for many of my students, though I can understand the advantages and the disadvantages of both options. So think through where you will test the best. Now, let's talk about some big ideas. For starters, this is test number 5723 as you register. And this is, again, the Praxis Core writing test. The writing section's really there to assess your ability to use grammar and mechanics correctly, but it's also going to look at your ability to clearly and effectively write with a purpose. Again, this is testing your basic skills, not your ability to teach it, just your basic skills in much the same way that the ACT or the SAT would have measured. And you are demonstrating to your school, your College of Education, that you have a solid foundation to begin learning how to teach these skills now. All right? So let's look at some more of the basics. There's 100 minutes total in the writing test, and that time again includes the multiple choice and the timed essays. This test is always computer delivered, just like the other core exams. And there are also the three main parts, all right? First, text types, purpose, and production. What does that mean? It makes up about 60% of your score, so it's important to understand this section. This is where you're going to find those two essays. That's right. When you start the writing section, the essays are going to come at you first. One of these essays is going to be an argumentative essay. You're going to take a position, you're going to support it, and then the second one is going to be a source-based essay. This is where you're going to use some short text that they provide in the prompt to build your response back. You can look at some examples of these in the module that we have ahead in the study materials and break down how you plan to kind of plan out, organize, and write your essay response. This, again, is a very individualized thing to do effectively. And so I encourage you to lean into all of those resources, whether it be our own one-to-one tutoring offered in the Learning Lab, tutors.com. You're welcome to reach out and work with a tutor, or you're welcome to write those essays and submit them to the writing review that we see through tutors.com as well. And lastly, I am also happy to support your writing and your response, both in essay format or the concepts found in this section. I have to say, quite honestly, reading and writing, I feel very comfortable supporting your learning. Math gets a little dicey. I would refer you out to somebody else to support the tutoring element of the math section. But otherwise, feel free to knock on my door and let me know how I can help support you if you have forgotten or need a refresher of any specific concept found in the writing test and in this module. All right, the second section is the language and research skills. This only makes up about 20% of the writing test in your total score for the writing section. This section has those multiple choice questions. It's asking you to revise some sentences, improve the clarity of a sentence or paragraph, or use some research that they provide and cite the evidence correctly. You'll see those examples and more in this module so you can better understand how those will be presented, again, as multiple choice questions. And then the third section makes up about 20% of the questions. These will focus on grammar, usage, and mechanics. And this is again your ability to like spot the grammatical errors or spot the punctuation issue. Some questions ask you to look at sentence structures and identify a certain problem. That's going to be some of them related to the tense, some of them related to the word order. All of those might be found in this section. Now, within the module itself, we're really going to focus on those multiple choice questions, though again, there are plenty of example writing prompt questions for you to practice on your own if you wish. We're going to walk through some strategies to help you to choose the best answer. As I've said before, you're likely going to see two best answers. Remember that process of elimination to help you arrive at those two best answers. And then from those, read very critically in order to find which answer is best and almost best. You want to make sure that that the best answer is what you select. We're also going to talk about what the scores look for in your written essay. Organization is very important. The development of your ideas is very important. And when you develop your ideas well, you have a lot of control of language. That's also something that is used to score you. All right. I hope by the end of this module, you'll know exactly what to expect in this portion of the Praxis core, and I hope that this will allow you to practice with confidence. Again, the best thing you can do is familiarize yourself with this test so that you have some confidence coming into test day. My best recommendation to do this is to create a clear plan to tackle the studying in small chunks in order to be ready for test day itself. Remember, if you have scored well on an ACT or SAT prior to your admittance into your school of education, you may be able to use those scores in lieu of your Praxis test. So be sure to check that if you haven't already. Other than that, I say let's dive in. Let's strengthen your writing skills and let's get ready to shine on that Praxis core writing test. Please reach out if there's anything I can do to help your studies and your learning as you prepare this week.